Hello again. Welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to RLCraft. Normal RLCraft. Not hardcore. So anyways, we're picking back up pretty much just right after last episode because I want to go ahead and push on into the Defiled land stuff today. The stuff that's not bookworms. And I will say we probably won't spend a ton of time with the Defiled lands. Honestly, probably one episode should cover most everything that I want to cover. As you can see, it doesn't add a ton of blocks. I will show you a couple of these things. I also want to try out something with a Ravaging Axe this episode, something I've been curious about. The baubles we're not all that interested in. The Scarlet Ring, it's basically really nerfed down regeneration, so when you have Ring of Regeneration, it's not that great. And Protozoa Amulet protects from Vile Spine and Mature Blastum. That's just the plants in the Defiled land, so we're not that worried about that. There's also the Healing Pad, which you can make, which heals you when you stand on it, but once again, not all that useful to us. Maybe early on, if you push on into Defiled lands, like within like the first, few hours, this might be useful. But you can get life, you can get regen like really fast. I will show you one thing that we're going to be going. Actually, I'll show you this first. One thing that we're going to be going for in our hardcore series, like early on, is the Scarlet Reaver. And let me grab a black heart. I don't know if I have more. I think I just have that one. Yeah, we're gonna have to farm some of those today because we're gonna need some, but that's fine. And let's grab Umbrium. Okay. Let's go ahead and make ourselves a Scarlet Reaver. I thought about making one of these for our main, like for this series, but I mean the damage isn't great. It's 6 attack damage, 2 attack speed, which the attack speed's pretty good, but you're talking about it doesn't really make up for the lack of damage. But this thing is a monster weapon in this pack, I think, starting out, if you don't have a lifesteal enchant like early on. And the reason being, if we pop out here, which actually I was curious, I don't think this has a minimum requirement. It doesn't have a minimum requirement to wield it, it doesn't look like. So yeah, I might actually be going for this on my hardcore playthrough. But if we hit this mob, if you watch up, well, actually, before we do that, because it's kind of obsolete when we're wearing this. But if we attack, say, this mob, and you watch at the top left, you'll see, just for a split second, basically we get regeneration. And I'm thinking this is actually going to be enough to upkeep our limbs to some degree. It's like early game lifesteal. But if you have a lifesteal enchant, I will say that's going to be better. Also the Lycanite stuff is going to be better. So this isn't like an end-all be-all weapon. But it should be enough regen to early game to upkeep your limbs, I think. I should think so. Depending on how much damage, of course, that you're taking. So you're still going to need some decent armor with it, but I did want to show you that. But anyways, what we're going to be doing today, I think, the main thing we're going to be doing is just killing the bosses. Even though this pack deletes any need to kill the bosses since the battle towers have the essence. But it's still kind of fun for us to do, and it's not like anything's really that much of a challenge at this point. We're going to be doing some bosses in the upcoming episodes, so we're going to need to make two things. We're going to need to make the Calling Stone. We're also going to need to make the Idol of Sorrow. This is to summon the Mourner. This is to summon the Destroyer. And we're going to need a bit of Scarlight, which I haven't actually taken any time to farm any Scarlight so far, so I'm going to have to go do that. The essences, if we take a look, I have 6 Ravaging Essence. I have 6 Remorseful Essence. So I really think you could get away with just farming from battle towers without doing the bosses in this pack. But we are going to be taking on the bosses just for fun. But before we do that, we're going to have to go do a bit of farming. Because I need a couple things. I need black hearts. Honestly, what all are these used for in this pack? Doesn't seem like the recipes are all that different. Scarlet Reaver, Scarlet Razor, which I've actually got one of these that dropped. It's enchanted with some really bad enchants. Healing Pad, Calling Stone, and the Scarlet Ring. Okay, so really we just need one of the black hearts. And then we need a bunch of Scarlet, like 13. which is, that's fine. That's not too bad. We'll go ahead and sleep and just make it night, because it's going to make our lives a bit easier. And we'll head back out. And with the sun starting to set, we should be able to find one of the things that I'm after. And realistically, I'm probably going to have to mine down to find the other thing. I think this might be the best course of action, because I need to go down to diamond level. By the way, this ore right here, this is that hematite or hephazite shards. Honestly, you'll probably rarely find yourself mining that stuff, unless you get really interested in like throwing explosives. Aside from that, there's not a whole lot of need for it. So this mod's a lot of fun, I think, with custom recipes. With default recipes, it's kind of a short experience, unless it's really, really early game and you're actually after a lot of the gear. Some of the tools, which I'm going to show you, because I want to try something with the Ravaging Axe this episode, which we'll do that here in just a little bit. Okay, we're down at bedrock now. What I'm doing right now is breaking through, because basically we're mining down here at diamond layer. And I'm looking for this right here. This is Scarlight ore. So we got 2. I'm going to need a fair amount of these. If you have fortune, it will work. I just didn't bring my fortune pick, and I'm not that worried about it because I have super pick. So it's no biggie. And I'm hoping that some mobs spawn behind us, because I need to kill some shamblers for the black hearts that we're going to need. Alright, so we've got 16 at the moment. I'm not sure how many of these I'm actually going to want. Because we're going to be making the Ravaging Axe. That's only 1 there. And these are just Umbrium. We're going to need... I've actually got a Concussion Smasher already. We're going to need 4 there, and I know we're going to need 9 for the other Summoning Stone. And then the Golden Crown, we've actually already got one of these, so... actually, I think we've probably got enough. I'll try to find one more bit of it. There we go. Just for good measure, more than anything. And, oh, there's a piece I missed. And are no shamblers spawning? It doesn't seem like they are. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, anyways, let's go ahead and summon our rock. Let's get up out of here. And now I need to go farm up a black heart. I just need 1 of them. And then we'll be all set. So they can spawn above ground at night. They also tend to spawn a lot underground. But there they are. Okay. And I'm going to use the looting sword on these. Yeah, there we go. We are all set. Okay, so let's head back home. We're going to go craft a couple things, and then it's going to be time for boss fights. Plus, I need to drop off all this Defiled stone. I'm also going to drop off the Ravager, because I'm not going to be using that, but that's just one of those things I kind of wanted to show you guys as a thought for this pack. There's other tools. I mean, I will show you these two this episode, I think. The Ravager, you can do pellets, like these right here, Umbrium pellets, Spike pellets, which does bleeding, and then vulnerability on the Ravaging pellets. These are kind of nice if you want like a different kind of ranged weapon. It's kind of like a pistol. We'll just drop off lots. A Defiled stone. Okay, so I want to make the Calling Stone, which is Defiled stone bricks. I should have held on to those, I guess. I just need 4 of them. And then we're also going to want the Idol of Sorrow, which is just Umbrium and Ravaging Ingot. So for this, we are going to need 4 of our Ravaging Essence. Which, once again, I can't remember if this comes from spawners or from Battle Tower loot. For getting a bunch of that. I can't recall, but... Basically, the idea is that you kill the Destroyer with the Calling Stone, and then you're supposed to be able to make the Idol of Sorrow for the other boss. But since it's this pack, we can just bypass most things with the loot that we've accumulated. And I will say this boss is going to give us nothing that we actually need, but it's just kind of, we're just kind of doing it to do it at this point. There's that. And then our Idol of Sorrow. Okay, so we've got that. And then we should be good to go fight the bosses. Then we can take a look at the other gear. Or some of the other things. There's a couple things, like I said, I wanted to just test with you guys to kind of show. I mean, I could pop it in my test world and test it, but I want to show you guys the tools, give you an idea of what's in Defiled Lands. Like I said, there's really not anything at this point that we need. Bookworms was about it at this stage of the pack, because you just kind of progress so fast that you progress past the Defiled Lands pretty quickly. Okay, so what we're looking for is this right here. You'll see these all over the Defiled Lands, pretty much any of the Defiled Lands biomes. And this is an altar. It's a conjuring altar or summoning altar or something like that. What's it called? You can pick these up, conjuring altar. You can pick these up and move them, but they're only going to work in the Defiled Lands. And basically, they just need to be in the Defiled Lands, and they need to be able to see the sky. I think it is, maybe. I think so. I think that's right. Hey, blighted spider. I'm going to kill it. There we go. Lots of XPs. That moment when you accidentally hit the dirt with this, it just rips through everything. Okay, so anyways, all we have to do to summon these bosses is, and we're going to do these in order, so first would be the Destroyer normally, and so we'll just right-click that, and there we go, one laid waste on the world. And this is the Destroyer boss, right here. I was taking a screenshot, so. Anyways, we can just burn her down. There we go. Her health bar didn't go down. I think we just crit and two-shot her. Or something. I'm not really sure what happened there, but she just died. But yeah, so, and you can see we got a bunch of Umbrium ingots. We got some Ravaging Essence. We got some Defilement Powder. Which basically can be used if you right-click, say, stone, it turns it into Defiled Stone. We've been using it for making our foul candy. So, yeah, you can see right here all the different stuff. I didn't even think about that. We could have done that. But that's fine. It's not a big deal. It didn't take us that long. But you can get, like, Obscure Glass. This is actually pretty good if you want to do some kind of a mob farm. Because it's basically... if you play other mods, it's... oh, why can I not think of the name of it? It is, well, the black glass, I don't know, I can't think of it. There's actually a few of them in modded that can do that, but anyways, it blocks light so mobs can spawn in that area. And then there's Block of Umbrium, there's different ores, more versions of Obscure Glass from basically every different color of glass can make it, and every different type of stone can make Defiled Stone, and yeah. And that's pretty much that. Okay. And, oh wow, we got a bunch of Heart Crystal Shards. Which actually makes me wonder if we shouldn't do these bosses on Hardcore early on. Maybe. I don't know. Something to consider. Okay, so we need to go find another altar. Like I said, these things tend to be super common around here. And see, right here, you would use half your Ravaging Essence to make the Idol of Sorrow if you wanted the Mournful essence, or the is that right? Mournful essence, remorseful essence. But here's another one. So we'll just right click and spawn our mourner. There we go. The other wept in silence. I feel like this mod needs like a storyline. So anyways, that's him. You can see he's a little bit stronger than the other one. But, no matter, we prove victorious. And we got a little bit of XP. Not a whole lot of XP, just a little bit. And we got 8 Remorseful Essence. We got some Scarlight. And we got a bunch more Heart Crystals. And yeah, that's pretty much that. That's pretty much the boss fights for this mod. Yeah, that's pretty much Defiled Lands done. Except for looking at the gear. I mean, like I said, there's not a massive amount within Defiled Lands, and without like custom recipes and stuff like that. It's pretty much a quick process, especially when you can just wreck bosses like that. Just face tank them and smack them a couple times and they die. Like, you would think it would be the other way around, like the boss is trying to summon you to take you on because you're the boss, you know? Yeah, there's another altar right there, another one right there. They tend to be everywhere. And like I said, you can pick these up. If you have a Silk Touch pick, I believe it will pick them up. But once again, they only work in the Defiled Lands. Plus, you wouldn't want to really set one up in your base for use because they're going to blow things up. I might come back over here and snag one just for kind of like our little kind of achievement, little trophy area. Just because it's not like I can get a head from them, from those bosses. I wish they'd add heads. I wish every mod added heads for its mobs. I miss whenever Headcrumbs had proper Lycanite support. They haven't had proper Lycanite support since I think 1.7. It still has Lycanite's mobs in there, but it only adds a few of them. There was a time when all Lycanite's mobs had heads that you could get within Headcrumbs, and it was an amazing, wonderful thing. And then they stopped supporting it. And I don't know. That mod used to be like one of my favorite mods, Headcrumbs, and since like over time it's become like a very meh mod to me in a lot of cases, just because they dropped that Lycanite support. But anyways, let's go ahead and we're gonna make both of these, just because they're kind of cool and because we can. And I might have enough Hephaestite. No, I've actually got to go mine this stuff. This is like the only thing I think outside of making the Blazing Blastum fruits, which you can throw and they burn things and explode, if I recall. But I think this is the only other item that requires it. It requires the blocks. I just want to show you both of these. They're actually pretty nice weapons. They're pretty powerful. And I've actually been considering well, I say I've been considering them, but the thing is, like, in a lot of things, like, and it's kind of true in a lot of games, you'll have things that are just kind of overpowered compared to other stuff. Like, you know, for example, Dark Souls. I will say, I mean, Demon Souls, magic was great. And then when Dark Souls came along, magic was terrible, right? And it's kind of just been kind of in this, like, lull state where you just don't find yourself using magic. Magic playthroughs are fun, but your character's just not as powerful. You know, things are a little bit tougher and all that because the damage. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked, but ranged weaponry, outside of just like a solid bow, they tend to not be as strong. I will say the what we're about to make, though, these are pretty powerful. These are pretty powerful, but you will have to put like mending on them. I think they can accept mending, right? Yeah, they should be able to. Yeah. So you could probably put mending on them, and they'd be pretty powerful. Let me pop down here, and I'm going to need a couple of these. I'm going to need a little bit of Umbrium as well. We're going to make ourselves 2 Remorseful Gems, which I actually think that's all the essence is used for, is Remorseful Gems, and that's only used to make those 2. So if you kill the boss one time, you can make everything that relates, you know, that comes from the boss drops. And then I'm going to need a couple of these. And then we're going to get the Tears of Penance. This is my favorite one. But the other one is really powerful as well. Like, really, really powerful. Especially in, like, harder packs. If you have Defiled Lands and you have this, it is a monstrosity. In this pack, I don't think it's going to prove all that useful because we one-shot everything and take like near no damage. But we're going to go ahead and make the Tears of Retribution. And these are kind of the endgame items for Defiled Lands. Like, yeah, we're already at the endgame at this point. But let me go sleep just to make this a little bit more... Oh, it's actually turning night. Okay, never mind. Alright, so the Tears of Penance. This thing is pretty crazy because... my forest all burned down. So there's not as many mob spawns, but I'll show you right here just to give you an idea. So this little house, if I take this, the Tears of Penance, and I hold right click for a second, it does this. And basically these are blaze fireballs that I'm shooting out here. And it'll just keep going, and every, I don't know, I don't remember how many, but every so many fireballs that it fires off, it takes a durability point, is all. So it will catch things on fire, so watch out. And then the Tears of Retribution, what you can do is you can hold right click, and what it does, you can see multiple shulker shots going out. And basically this is targeting every mob within like so much of a radius around me. It's hitting them with shulker blasts, so it's causing them to levitate up. Now, I mean, most of these mobs around me right now are flying, so it's not all that effective. But that zombie right there, he has... Oh, yeah. I need to get away from the water. I can't swim. Well, the zombie's gone. I think he died. But anyways, it can be used if you have a lot of mobs around you, because it targets just everything in range. So if you're like in a big mob horde and you at least have space so that they can take falling damage. It can also be used, of course, for just good solid crowd control. I mean, there is that option. But if you're outside especially, I mean, you can get a lot of fall damage using that. It's quite cool. It's something different. Is it super useful for us? Nah, probably not, but it is kind of a cool little thing I wanted to show you from the mod. Plus, it's pretty much the end game of Defiled Lands. And then I wanted to make a Ravaging tool. I mean, these are all pretty much the same. I'm going to make the Ravaging axe. Just because, like I said, I want to test something with this. So, let's go ahead, do that. And that. The Wielder of Destruction. Which is just for making a tool out of Ravaging Essence. Any of the tools will work. I'm not sure what all achievements, if I can, let's see. Craft some blazing blastum fruits. Discover every natural defiled biome. I found 3 out of 7. And then breed bookworms until you reach 30 enchanting level. That's actually one thing we're working on. So that just comes from exploration. We could do that, so I could show you the blazing blastum fruits and we get the easy advancement, I guess. Not too worried about the advancements, but we might as well, I suppose. We'll pop over here. I just kind of wanted to do this Defiled Lands episode, kind of like the Lost City, because I've had a lot of requests for it, and kind of just so you guys, if you guys have any questions about Defiled Lands, hopefully it answers it for you. I mean, there's not a whole lot there, but I want to try this. So this does work for cutting down the tree. But it does not, okay, it does not drop any stuff. That's what I was wondering about, because when you cut like wood and stuff with the Ravaging tools, or you break stuff, I mean, the pick does stone, the shovel does dirt, and the axe does wood. It doesn't actually drop the items. It's basically just for like mass clearing. But for example, if I go grab some wood, just to show you. So for example, we have planks and we have wood. If we click that, it breaks it. Click that, it breaks it. It's like instantaneous breaking with the Ravaging pick, because the speed is just crazy fast on it. Let's see. I think I've got some blastum fruits. And these come from the plants, which the plants do explode if you touch them. So be careful when you're in Defiled Lands, because there are the thorns and the... I guess I could give you a quick tour around the Defiled Lands just so you know what to look out for. By fire be purged. And we got 30 levels again, and that actually should top off the book and fill another book up. So, awesome. We'll have a couple more books, because we're going to be using those in an upcoming episode, so, in mass. Right over here is a blastum fruit. So, and basically this is what that one necklace does, protects from Vile Spine and Mature Blastum. This is Vile Spine, and if you touch it, you take damage. It's basically like thorns. And then the blastum fruits, if you touch them, they explode, and they do summon tremors. So there's that. So when you're going through the Defiled Lands, just be careful, because especially, I don't know, chances are if it's early pack, this place might be pretty nasty. So it's basically like one big trap. So, and then you can take your Blossom Fruits that you've made and throw them and they explode and make fire. So there's that. And also, I was about to leave this area. I should go ahead and point this out. There's Tenebra trees right here. And these things, they can drop a sapling. I've actually got a few of the saplings. You can also find these. I think I got them when we were down in that dungeon. Basically where the stronghold was. I mean, that was like a Defiled Lands dungeon. They're just little bitty things. But you can get Tenebrae saplings, and you can do all your Tenebrae wood stuff using this. So, yeah, I got a Tenebrae sapling there. The drop chance on these, if I recall, is pretty high. So, because, of course, there's not a lot of leaves on these trees, so to kind of make up for that. I'll tell you what, just for fun, we'll go ahead and make a Ravager. And also, there is the Scarlet Razor. I know we've talked about this, but just a quick mention. You can right-click it to convert your life to hunger, which is kind of nice if you have regeneration. One of those things that I've been thinking about taking with us. So we don't even have to eat anymore. We just use the razor to give ourselves hunger. Let's see. I do. This one has bluntness and curse of inaccuracy, which doesn't matter. We can just right-click. There we go. And you can see we stay full health. So this might actually be worth packing one of these around. Maybe stick Unbreaking and Mending on it. And just have that as food. Might be worth doing, I think. We shall see. Because it's actually pretty good. Yeah, I might actually drop the baked potatoes. I know I talked about that before, but then I get in that habit of just running the potatoes. And there's also the Umber Blaster, which fires those Blossom Fruits like a gun that we just talked about. And then the Concussion Smasher, charged and released to create a shockwave. I have one of these I could show you. This is kind of like doing this episode somewhat like a mod spotlight, sort of, just a very rough mod spotlight sort of thing, just because of the fact I didn't want to be like, hey, we're going to do Defiled Lands. 5 minutes later, it's done. And, it didn't really show you all the stuff that's in it. So, I don't know. just to kind of give you a heads up. But we can hold right click and then release, and there's a big shockwave around us. And I actually think it could spawn Tremors in this pack. That's got Unbreaking 2 and Destructive 2. And, yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and make, just so I can show you the Ravager, because it's kind of cool, and I don't want to just be like, hey, there's the Ravager. Maybe you guys enjoyed this episode. I just know I had a lot of requests for covering the Defiled Lands, so today we're covering the Defiled Lands. The only thing is, just like I said, I just don't need anything personally from the Defiled Lands. Scarlet Razor I'll probably use, but the rest of the stuff, and we're going to be, the bookworms, of course. We are using those, but yeah, let's go ahead and make ourselves some Umbrium Pellets. And this, if you have the Umbrium Pellets, you can just right-click, and it fires like that. It's pretty good, especially if you get into the Spiked Pellets, which do the stacking bleed effect, which is kind of nice. You're going to have to farm those Vile Spines for that, though. Then there's the Ravaging Pellet, which uses Ravaging Essence. A little bit on the expensive side, but it does apply vulnerability, which is pretty massive. And you can craft them 8 at a time using the ingot. The Bleeding one in the past, when I've used Defiled Lands, Bleeding one is my favorite because it's actually pretty powerful, the bleed damage that it does. But anyways, I think that's most everything. Like I said, there's the healing pad, but you stand on it, you get healed. There's a lot of stuff like that in other mods, so I'm not going to cover it. It's good for things like Blood Magic. It's not as great on here unless you just want some healing in your base early game. Of course, it does require Scarlight and Blackheart, so you're going to have to do a bit of farming when you could get Lifesteal or like Lycanite's Tools or something like that, or Ring of Regeneration's actually not that bad. We're going to be going for that in the Hardcore series here soon. Of course, the Hardcore series is recorded a bit ahead from what's probably out at the time of this posting. So, But yeah, I think that's covered about everything. I mean, we've looked at all the mobs before. The Twisted Shamblers, the Shamblers. And aside from that, I mean, there's not much else to talk about. So, and I think with that, I am going to end out this episode here. I mean, I know it wasn't like a really progressive type episode for stuff that we're using, but like I said, I just wanted to cover it for those of you, because there had been actually a lot of requests about covering the Defiled lands, and so I figured, well, we'll just spin an episode, take on the bosses, because just to say that we've killed all the things, you know, that's part of it. I think really at this point, I think the only bosses that I can think of that are left are Asmodeus, which we're going to be doing that here soon, and actually probably next episode we're going to be doing Asmodeus. It's not going to take up the entire episode. And then we have to do the Emerald and Diamond tier bosses for Lycanites. And then that's pretty much, I think, all the bosses in this pack. But we still have a bit of other stuff. Kind of just, I don't know, we're just kind of having fun with RLCraft at this point. Just doing all the things. And I want to go do a Lycanites dungeon. And we still have to go explore that big village. So we'll do that here soon as well. So, but anyways, if you guys had any questions about Defiled Lands, hopefully this helped. And now we can say we've done the Defiled Lands and pretty much done everything in it this episode. So I've still got to finish breeding up bookworms. So I'm working on that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.